And I've been chilling, watching the ocean with you. Baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our clouds when people change, but not us. And we just chilling, kicking it, kissed by the sun.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Masaki from State 483, and today I am updating my guide for Azuretane Heist. As some of the, my followers probably know, Azuretane is my favorite event of this game. So obviously it's going to be the one that I'm going to be spending a lot of time. And I'm going to be honest, I will not disappoint. As you can see, I ranked number 2 in this event. And honestly, at this point, I realized that unless I'm willing to basically max out my base and be able to hold center, I probably will never be able to rank 1. I will try really hard though, right? And I might get lucky, but I swear I don't think it's possible for me to rank 1 if I don't get center. So just laying that aside. But as you can see, I'm not maxed. And as most of you guys know, I'm fairly free to play. I know this account is a P8. But the other thing you should know is this account was also given to me by a good friend of our within my alliance. So it's not really even my account, but I think I feel pretty confident even if I have a P5, I can rank pretty high in this event, at least top 10. So as you can see from my previous performances, actually, on my channel, you'll find other videos where I've ranked really high for this event. So I'm going to give you more tips. I actually think that this new version of Azuretane Heist has a lot more opportunity. If you follow my lead, you will rank really high as well. I guarantee you, because so many people don't know how to play this event. That's what I'm seeing everywhere. So let's kick it off, right? Obviously, this one is one of my best performing events so far of, this Azuretane thing. Skill and knowledge does matter for this event right now. I think as people start understanding like how this event works, it becomes more kind of like the back of their hand. The fact that they are pay to win will matter, but right now, because they don't have understanding of how the event works, at least not at the level that I do on average, I can beat or outskill most other players in this game. You will do better if you listen to what I have to say in this video. Of course, a lot of the content from the previous video will be helpful as well, so do check those out. I will make sure to add some links in the description box below. All right, so let's start off with the changes for this event. So far, the first change is that it's a shorter event. No longer is it 1 hour, it's just 30 minutes. I think this change is really good. It doesn't have to be that long. 30 minutes is fine. They've added the skill tree system. Overall, the skill tree system just adds a little bit more flexibility in the build, which is kind of cool. I enjoy that. It really, again, it's all these different things raises the skill cap, which allows certain players to perform better if they have more information. In fact, it is now added to the map, and what they do is they do give you bonus points if you go for the skill, but more importantly, they just give you experience to be able to actually get your skill tree unlocked. The energy of the previous Azuretane Heist is removed, so that no longer is a factor. So you don't have to worry about like sending or be smart about sending your troops out. You can just keep sending them. You don't have to worry about energy anymore. The way that they're gating, you infinitely sending troops everywhere is heroes now have to rest if they're defeated. And this is very key. They only have to rest if they're defeated, not just because they're sent out. So don't fight people that you think you're going to lose. If somebody's hitting you and you're about to lose, then pull your heroes back. These are all ways that you can really prevent yourself from being put at a disadvantage. If your heroes are disabled because they're not available, it will actually drastically decrease your combat power to the point where you might not be able to kill infected. You might not be able to take over mining spots, which is huge. So make sure you're kind of hero managing and making sure that your heroes are not going to get killed. Again, they do recover, but take some time. I think it's I didn't really look closely. I think it's 3 or 4 minutes, which is actually quite long for this event. That's only going to last 30 minutes. Okay, so kind of hopping down into some of the general event info. If you really want a full description how this event works, a lot of the content has not changed. So again, links in the description box of the previous videos I have done of the older version. The buildings, they basically still function the same. In general, you have buildings that are level 1, level 2, and level 3. The level 1 is the most outer field, level 3 but being most inner. You can kind of see that on the mini map. by seeing that the darker green is where the level 3 fields are. Obviously, higher level means that you can gather more gas. There's more gas available within the building, but also your mining speed is faster. And it's pretty drastic. So those that are sitting on level 3, they will definitely gather gas much faster than those sitting on level 1. So that is a key factor. However, just so that most people understand, unless you are pretty much a maxed out base, you will not be able to sit and hold level 3. So just something you should think about. And even if you're maxed out, one of the problems is that your worst march may not stand against somebody's best march. So that's another factor to think about as well. Okay. Eruption fields are something that happens throughout the event. You get two sectors or sections of that for the event, and they will give you a burst of gas very quickly. I think the mining time has been increased to about 15 seconds. But you're going to be able to get a ton of gas within that 15 seconds. So you should be maximizing that phase as well. Picking up dropped Azuretane on the floor after a building has been attacked is how you can gain quite a bit of amount of Azuretane. As an example, I think the amount of Azuretane that's dropped in total is about 4,000 for level 1, and they do increase for different levels of the building. So picking them up all 3 spots, right, left, and bottom, is very important for getting a lot of gas in a burst. If you're attacked on a field and you occupy that field, you will lose the gas that's in mining. So this is another one of those tips where if you're mining and somebody's attacking you and you feel like you're going to lose, you're probably better off pulling your troops back so you don't have to have your heroes recover or lose the actual mined gas on that field. So something to think about there too. And lastly, the center does grant a huge bonus to the person that can hold it the longest. That's 100,000 points, which sometimes, at least in my map, did swing the final victory to the player who held center for the longest. In my opinion, that's not really something you can choose, and unless you are maxed everything, it's probably not something that you should go for anyways, because I guarantee you there will be plenty of max players going for the center, and it will be a very hard fight even if you're max. And it's pretty high risk because if you don't get it, let's say you're very close but you're second, that reward number of points decrease drastically between first, second, third, to basically insignificant amounts by the time you're down to even below 5, I think. And one of the problems with that is you do have to kind of continuously fight center, and you're further away from a lot of mining. So you are kind of also taking yourself out for about 10 minutes, which is the end of the phase, to fight for center. So something to think about for center. All right, let's hop over to strategies. First, let's talk over the different phases. So phase 1 is what I call the start. Usually you will hop into the map and you get a couple minutes, 2 minutes or so, to kind of get situated in the map. You can't relocate anywhere. You can, of course, look around the map. What I usually do here is I try to look and find a level 3 spot on the map that is a good spot for me to kind of go and stay there. And the reason you do this early is because those level 3 spots is where you want to go right off the bat. So as soon as the combat opens, you want to port over to a level 3 spot. Don't worry, there are going to be a lot of high level players there. That's expected. You can attack the building if you want, but what I prefer is send all of your marches out to attack infected. And when I say all, I mean every single march. The reason you're doing this is because you're gaining a lot of experience to be able to start leveling your skills. Now, what you need to be doing is watch the map very carefully. As these high level players attack the gas mines, you will need to pick up gas very quickly. So my recommendation is find a spot at the level 3 that's near many infected, but also near a lot of purple gas fields. What this allows you to do early game is you're able to quickly gather up the dropped Azuretane. You're not trying to hit the field, you're just getting the dropped Azuretane. And when you grab the gas on the floor, make sure you go right, left, and then bottom, and the reason, or center, and the reason you do this is that the dropped gas is not random. No matter what people tell you, they're not random. The right side always gives you the most, left side gives you the second most, and the bottom is the least amount. So you want to focus in that order, and grab the ones obviously closest to you, because march time does matter. And if somebody grabs the gas before you, your march is now wasted and you will have to march back, which just is extra time that's lost here. So that's why you need to port next to buildings quickly. Okay, basically this is what you need to be doing: continuously killing infected, continuously picking up gas until all of the purple near you have and the drop gas have already been picked up. Around this time, your free relocator should be charged now, and now you can go somewhere else more permanent. So what I would recommend is start looking at the bottom of the map, usually around the level 1 or level 2 zones, and then find a spot that's kind of nice, you don't see a lot of people, and then you can go there. All right, so that brings us to the phase 2, which I call mining phase of the game. Basically, at this phase, you want to be around the level 1 or 2 areas. Pick a place that you think you can hold gas spots and then start attacking. It's okay to attack players at this point that are mining on the gas fields, as long as you feel like you can defeat them. And it's probably even better if you find a place with no players and a bunch of gas fields that are occupied by the infected. They'll say runner on the bottom, and they will not have any symbols up top, and that's how you know they're occupied by the infected. These will drop the most gas when they are hit. Recommendation is I would not hit a bunch at the same time. I would hit one at a time, go slow, use your other marches again to continuously kill infected, because you do want to maximize your skill as soon as possible. I'm kind of skipping over the leveling of skill tree right now, so wait until the end of the video. I'll teach you exactly which build to use for what purpose. But as you're leveling your skills, make sure you are grabbing them and don't make the mistake of not grabbing them early enough. Basically, at this point, you just want to grab as many fields as possible, always leaving 1 or 2 marches available. You will likely have a skill that allows you to attack other fields. As soon as you occupy it, you'll gain 5,000 points, and you can do this once per minute. You should be doing that with your free march. So your free march should either be killing infected or attacking the gas fields. And if you're already maxed out to the last skill, feel free to hit collector as well, because you're going to be collecting faster when you hit that skill. I think from that point, just make sure you are on the fields, right? And about 1 minute before the eruption, which is what I call phase 3 here, is the first eruption, you'll get a 60-second warning prior to this phase beginning. When you see that warning, you can wait 30 seconds, and as soon as the clock hits 30, I would start recalling every single field you have. And the reason you do this is because eruption fields give you a ton of gas in a very short amount of time, and they're going to be very contentious. And so the person that gets on that field first, likely you're going to be able to mine the whole thing without being harassed. So you do want to mine with every single march you have. At this point of the game, you should be looking around the map. If you're not near a place with a lot of empty space, you should go find that space. I wouldn't recommend doing that near level 3 or level 2 fields, though, because likely you're going to have a lot of contenders, and if they knock you off the field, you lose the gas. Basically, it's really bad for you. So I would try to find spaces near level 1 where maybe other players can't knock you off, and then you find a space with lots of open areas, because those open areas are more likely to spawn the erupted gas fields. As soon as they spawn, you send your troops out there, just kind of blindly. It doesn't matter if somebody's marching towards it. If you feel confident you can defeat them, it's worth a shot to go march while they're marching as well. And you want to continuously do this throughout all the spawns of the eruption gas field. I do believe that there are 3 spawns, so keep sending until all 3 spawns are done. Do not spend any amount of time mining the slow mining fields at this point, because you do want to save every single march for eruption gas field. You can, of course, kill some infected this phase, but honestly, if you have more eruption gas fields around you, I would spend every single march doing those, as those are very, very profitable. Phase 4 is basically a repeat of phase 2. It's another mining phase. Just do what you did in phase 2. Feel free to move around a little bit as well. So one thing that you can kind of think about is do you know that you should use some of your relocators? They are going to be useful. I usually relocate around. If I find that the area I'm at basically is kind of dominated by me already, I don't have another player I can attack very close to me, I will relocate to another place, especially ones with infected still on the mining fields, right? The ones that say runner. make sure you relocate there and then start attacking those fields and then, grabbing the dropped Azuretane. One of the reasons why you attack fields is actually not to mine, it's more for the dropped Azuretane. So it's totally okay to kind of like leave the mining spot after you hit it if you feel like you need to go somewhere else. Obviously, if you're not going to use the march slot for anything else, you can of course just mine as well. That's totally fine. And then of course phase 5 hits after that, which is another eruption field phase. Just do exactly what you did in phase 3. Same thing. Find a spot, go use all your marches on eruption fields. Okay, phase 6 center will open right after the eruption field finishes. In this phase, if you can hold center, hop over to center, grab a couple of the level 3 fields if you can hold them, and maybe some potential level 2s if you cannot hold the level 3s. I'm assuming if you're going center, you're pretty maxed out, so you should be able to hold level 2s without any issues. And make sure you have a couple marches there because you're going to be using at least one march or at most one march for center. You shouldn't be marching more than once towards center because you do still want to be mining. You do want to still earn points elsewise, not just send directly to center, which could cause you a lot of time and valuable, like, clicking, because killing infected gives you points. So does attacking and occupying a gas field every minute gives you extra points. Those do matter a lot in the long run. If you're not going to center, this is what I did for my run. Basically plan the build around using collector and continue doing just like you did in phase 2 and 4, the mining phases. I would hop around, I would attack people and gain points. I would then pick up the gas and then just keep going. Sometimes this is a good time also if you're a little bit weaker to go to level 2 fields because a lot of the higher players will be at center. They will not have the chance or time to be able to like attack a level 2 field, so you might actually be able to occupy a couple level 2 field. The one thing that I don't recommend in general for Azuretane is ever to sit somewhere and just mine. In general, that is the least profitable way to go in this game. You do want to be attacking infected. You do want to be very active. The more you can hop around, usually your points are going to be higher. But of course, if you move too much, your relocator cost will also go up. So something to be aware for that. And that's pretty much it. So I use this strategy to rank 2 in my state, earning a total of 416k points. The rank 1 player for most of the map wasn't even at the top list. He got there at the very end because he occupied center and gained about 100,000 points. So that's a huge point difference for someone to pull there. But for most of the map, I was basically head-to-head with a different player where either that or I was number 1 for most of the map. And that's because my strategy is more of a gradual increase rather than waiting for that last minute 100k burst of points. I'll close out this video with some general tips for you. In general, get your skills fast, ASAP actually. So the builds I would recommend are going to be if you can take over center, and this is kind of like where you're planning to do a lot of attacking and takeovers and things like that, then I would go for the attack build. What I mean by the attack build is basically bottom, top, right? And if you're planning to use my strategy as somebody who's the collector, you want to go for a more passive, more collection build, then I recommend going bottom, top, bottom. So the only real difference here is going to be top and bottom. Again, there might be some more optimization I'm not thinking about, and I will kind of like update the video if I find a better build than what I have so far. But this has worked for me to go bottom, top, bottom. To kind of explain what that means, so let's go over the skill tree. As you can see here, the first skill in the skill tree is going to be basically a passive earning, right? So you get some extra gas per minute. This is effectively not useful. It's only useful if you don't plan on killing infected. Like you're basically going to be sitting and mining. My thinking is this is almost never a good grab because you can march towards an infected and be able to hit the infected and come back within, let's say, within like 30 seconds or so, as long as you're close enough. And you could be marching that and doing that 6 times, right, max, if you have all the march slots unlocked and they're infected around you. The key is that, are there infected around you? So yes, there are cases where there are no infected. Of course, having the extra just 1,000 per minute is good. But I think most of the time, bottom is the only choice you take on level 1. At level 2, you have a top choice which increases your march capacity by 12k or increases your march speed by 25%. In my opinion, because so much of what you do in Azuretane is all being agile, I would take the 25% march speed over the 12k. The reason for this is because faster march speed allows you to grab dropped gas before others, which can really screw other people over. It will allow you to hit infected faster. It will allow you to get to spots faster. So I think overall having that is better. Now, obviously, if you're trying to win a battle, having the extra march capacity could be helpful, but I think it's too much to sacrifice for something like 25% march speed increase. And it's pretty drastic. You can definitely feel it. Level 3 basically has the skill choice of whether you're going to go bottom, which is like whenever you unsuccessfully occupy a gas field. I assume this to be you attack somebody and you fail, you get 5,000 natural gas. It's kind of like a compensation, right? And then, of course, top version of this is whenever you successfully, so if you attack and you win, you get 5,000. I would almost always go top here, unless of course you're very, very weak and you don't think you can occupy. The reason I wouldn't pick bottom is because when you fail to attack or occupy a gas field, your hero is actually going to be put on cooldown. So you almost never want to actually lose fights on gas fields, meaning you never actually want to attack in knowing that you're going to lose. So I'm not sure how useful having that skill is overall. So again, another choice where it's almost guaranteed. And now you can start seeing why my skill trees look so similar between the two builds, because the first 3 skills, I think there's no other choice. And then if we hop over to level 4 here, occupying gas field increases your efficiency of, basically increases mining speed by 15%. And of course, your other choice is going to be reduces time of hero revival or recovery. If you're following the guide and you're not killing your heroes, you really don't need the recovery time reduction. So you should be going for the top one, which just allows you to mine low faster. And last 2 skills basically unlocks 2 of these active skills. One is going to be universal mobilization. Basically, it's attack buff, right? It makes your march damage goes up. Basically, it's an attack buff. So if you're going to be attacking, this is useful. The other one is called collector, and what this allows you is basically it's a collection buff, right? So it increases your actual speed of extraction of gas, right? Efficiency, blah, 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 for 60 seconds. You can activate these skills once every 5 minutes. So of course, if you unlock this very quickly, I think the fastest you can probably do it is within 5 minutes of the map opening. Then of course you can start using these, and you could use about maybe 3 to 4 of these clicks if you can unlock them pretty quickly, which could make a difference, right? So those are the skills. That's why the build is what I recommend. So if you can understand now, that's why I go bottom, top is pretty much just fixed. There's almost no other choice here. And of course you choose top or bottom depending on if you're going for attack or if you're going for more of a defensive collection build. I still haven't figured it out, but I could argue that maybe even if you're going center and you don't need the help, going top may not be necessary, but I'm not 100% sure there. Okay. All right. So when you grab gas that are dropped on the floor, again, a reminder, go right, left, and then center, because the amount of dropped gas are not random, and this yields the most gas. During eruption fields, use all of your marches. It's a huge amount of gas. And then as far as infected goes, you should be killing infected all throughout the game. After you max level, as long as you went for the bottom skill, every infected kill just gives you 1,500 more points. And that does add up quite quickly. And if you're relocating to a new area, right after you relocate, obviously hit some gas spots, but start hitting infected as well. And the more infected you kill around the area, the more will spawn as well. So it's something that you should be doing. Don't really march for gas drops near other players. One thing that will happen is somebody will steal that drop, and then you will actually waste a very long march. So whenever I see players near a gas drop and they do look active, I do not march towards their spots. I kind of go for what's close to me. I only march to theirs once I've cleared out everything near me, because those are more guaranteed. Don't worry about like spending some relocators here, because you should be using them, because that's how you're going to be able to rank pretty high. Don't forget to max your skills as soon as possible. This is very key for this as well, because those are all just permanent buffs. The longer you have them, the more you're going to gain value from them. And of course, if you're me, don't forget to spend them. Not just maxing your levels, but also spend those levels and get those skills as soon as possible. The last tip I can give you is just make sure you understand that you can use Massive March and some other buffs that are in your talent tree outside of Azuretane to help you here too. I'm not going to go into details of this yet, because I'm not 100% sure which skills are going to be completely helpful, but definitely Massive March is something you should be spending if you have it. It will help you a lot for Azuretane. That's pretty much it. As you can see from this combat, I ranked number 2 at the end of this fight, and had I picked the right skill for my first skill, which I don't know what happened, I guess it must have fumbled a little bit, I might have been able to win this entire event rank 1, even though I did not occupy center. And this is pretty huge, because what I'm showing you is the ability to essentially not be anywhere near max and still be very competitive for this event. So I hope this guide is helpful. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I will read everything. I'll try to answer you as soon as possible. I know it's too late for most people for this round, but when this event comes through again, at least now you have all the knowledge I can give you, and you should be able to rank high as well. Anyways, this is Masaki from State 483. I hope you all have a great Azuretane event, and stay classy.
To speak a single word, 'cause you got me holding. Even if my jokes are